Welcome back once again, real people, real life, Wichita, Kansas, America. And once again, thank you, Nathan McClure. Okay, thank you, Aaron. All right, we are going to take a few seconds and just have a moment of silence for all of our veterans. There was some pretty heavy-hitting information that we kind of got out there a little bit with, the suicide situation, the substance abuse, and that risky behavior and things like that. Tell me the positives now of what you guys can do to help.
Well, I'll start off with Patriot Outdoor Adventures. We're proud to say we just got our nonprofit status finally. We've been working on that. We just got it. What we try to do is we try to reach some soldiers before they get out. This last weekend, we actually took 10 soldiers from Fort Bliss down in Texas. We took them on a trip. They had a great time. And so we try to get people to understand who we are before they get out so they can help themselves, friends, so forth. The other one is we go to a lot of trade shows. We try to get our message out. We've got a chapter in Nebraska, Oklahoma, Texas, Missouri, to where you can get in contact. And we can have local events. We can have larger events where we go across the country like we talked about last time. It's real great because the more people we touch, the more people want to come in. And so that works out very great for us. Like I said, we try to be that non-typical. You're not going to a hospital. You're not going somewhere for treatment. You're going to your peers. Your peers are who slap you, kick you in the butt, and say, get back on a straight path and let's go do something. And it's that whole group network. A lot of it is amazing, though. How many people, the run and gun that we did. And then all of a sudden we had a bunch of new people and veterans around Wichita say, bring them to me. I got a pond. I have land on a river. We'll go fishing. Bring them to my house. We'll go cook. We'll let them congregate here. Because some of the younger generation, we don't want to go into some of the places where my grandfather went for help. There's a little bit of culture and stigma that involved with that.
You, just real quick, because we were talking about that, and I don't know, if you want to touch on this or not, but there is a little bit of difference from, say, a Vietnam veteran era versus the Iraq and Desert Storm era veterans. There's a little bit of difference.
A lot of it, Patriot Outdoors is unique. We have taken World War II all the way up to the 20-year-old kids straight back from Afghanistan. What's real interesting about this is there's no difference. It's all in your head. We took a group of Vietnam with some modern day out on a turkey hunt. At first, you think there's this great rift, 40-year, 50-year difference. Once you get right down to it, the story's the same thing. Either you're in the jungle or you're in the streets or mountains, but the stories are the same. That camaraderie is almost instant. But for the biggest problem, there's just this huge mental rift. The idea that cultures are so different.
Well, it was a little bit of a different situation too. I mean, Vietnam,
it's all battle.
It's all battle. Because you were active, and I know we've talked about it a little bit, but I can see where a Vietnam veteran and maybe a younger, Afghanistan veteran.
I'm not Vietnam era.
I know that. I know. I know, right. But I'm just curious. How's that working?
Actually, I met with last Thursday. Met with a Vietnam veteran about some unrelated issue. Just spoke with him a little bit about some things, and this is something that I knew, but we got a chance to talk about it. Was the huge difference with Vietnam and the guys coming back now? Is the guys coming back now are heroes? They get TV shows,
right?
We get to be on the radio. We get to do all these cool things, and T-shirt companies, and we're almost worshipped. And
Vietnam vets were spit on.
Spit on, and this guy said that.
Discarded.
He said as much as we're uncomfortable with the word hero, that's something that was never even part of, the verbiage coming back for them, and so it's two. dynamically opposite
Yeah.
situations, but like he's saying, the stories, when you break them down, when you're amongst the brotherhood, they do become the same stories, but the dealing with it afterwards, the transition to the civilian life, is completely different, not even in the same textbook.
Well,
Oh,
one
sure.
thing I see with it, it is different, spit on versus being a hero, but the transition dump,
Is the same.
Vietnam, you're in country, 48 hours, you're in LA headed home,
Yeah.
and you're done. Was kind of very similar to, I was in Baghdad, and 36 hours later I'm laying in a hospital bed in Kansas. There's no time to transition.
Right.
And so for a lot of veterans, especially those ended early because of injuries, you're in that same hole. What do I do? Where do I go? And with Patriot Outdoors, we've had a good time with Vietnam veterans being able to come with the younger generation and say, this is the path.
Right.
Don't go down the dark side. Don't do things illegal. Don't
Right.
do the recreational drugs. Join motorcycle gangs.
Right.
Stay on this path. It will get better.
Right. Right. But that having that getting that message to them before they come back is, I'm sure, a little bit challenging. But is there some way to help with that? I mean, how can we do that?
That's we both deal in that, and it's all through a network.
Okay.
It's all through the network. We know people. The great thing about the Marine Corps, which I was in the Marines, I can connect almost within 1 to 2 people. Somebody I served with recently, and Army's a little different. It's a lot bigger, but I can connect with a guy and say, hey, this is what we're dealing with. Even the Marine that we dealt with served with the guy I served with in a different 10 years earlier, but we could still connect ourselves one person away. And so I can connect with somebody and say, hey, man, this is what we're doing. This is the show. This is what we're all about. And he's like, you know what? My buddy's a head of recruiting up there in Kansas City, and he's dealing with the Marine who's about to get out. Can you get a hold of him? And I can be right there on the phone with a guy who's got about 6 months left and start working him through the process of rewriting his resume.
That's something I wanted you to touch base on, because we
Right.
talked about that earlier, and that just was rather interesting too. So kind of walk us through that one, because that one was like,
Oh, well, I'll walk you through my resume. I got out of the Marine Corps Infantry in November 2005, and my first resume was all about the guns I handled, and that I was a corporal, which means something to us, but you tell it to an employee
Right.
or employer, and corporal means nothing. And then we did this mission, we did this mission, and that's all I would say. And I ended up being a janitor, going from a corporal. It's sometimes squad leader handling 13 Marines, millions of dollars worth of equipment, and high level. We did some submarine stuff as well. High level mission that if you fail, you look really bad in a public setting. But my resume didn't reflect that. My resume said we did this, we did that with guns, and we wore green, and we were 10 foot tall and bulletproof. Which the truth is, I handled millions of dollars of assets. I was a supervisor for up to 13 individuals, which when you change the way that's said, employers can now interact with that.
right.
Exactly. They see it as a skill instead of a skill they can't utilize.
Right.
And
When they can.
80% of the military, a little bit more, is actually logistics, supply. So they have an easy transition into the civilian world. For the warfighter, the infantry, Cav Scout, and so forth, our resumes in the military is all about how good we are, blowing up doors, taking care of people, cleaning tanks, shooting mortar rounds.
Problem solving.
Absolutely. You got a door in your way, wrap that cord around it and blow it.
There you go. Yeah.
Try to take that and put it into civilian terms. We still see people that say, I'm a jack of all trades. That's great when you're an infantryman. That means nothing on the civilian side.
But you help them. I mean,
We try to. Both organizations.
you can help them with that before they actually even get home. You can kind of start that transition opportunity
Right,
with
but
them ahead of time.
Think about the planning and all that goes into that, though. I can go help a Marine transitioning out from Marine Corps Infantry right now on his resume, but think about the time that goes into that. One person's resume. Upon all those that are getting out. I can't get them all. I can't help them all. That's why we are very big on this is a community effort.
Right.
I have people calling me all the time that are HR reps in different places and say, how can I help? I'm not a veteran. Doesn't matter. Are you an HR rep? Do you know how to write resumes? Then strip all that you thought about what you thought veterans were and get down to it and start helping them rewrite their resumes. Join on with us and do that, because I can't take every phone call.
Right.
He can't take every phone call.
It would have to be overwhelming.
It is overwhelming.
We do get the domino effect, though. I feel special because I've been on Patriot Outdoors, and I've also been with Chili Off the Grid a few times. You help one person.
Yeah.
They get on the right path. They help 2 or 3.
Right.
Absolutely.
And it's just a domino effect that you just help a few, and the fire just starts taking off.
Yeah.
And people want to listen. Other veterans want to listen to those that struggled and became successful, that got through it.
We
And
need you guys. We need you guys in everything that you're doing. There's just a lot of veterans that, I see them, that come into our store, for example, and they're there because they're hurting. They're there because it's not so much, sometimes even just a physical pain. It may be a mental pain, that's now taken on a physical ailment, and they'll come in and, I need, some Reiki, I need some massage therapy, but I sit here and I see some of them, and anymore I have literature from you guys, and I'm like, ching, 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 ching. So any information, any literature that we can provide, on the show tonight, Facebooks, websites, phone numbers, I want to make sure that we get that out to everybody. And if they have any questions, I want to make sure that they go to our Facebook as well. So please tag anything and everything. I don't care if you do it daily. I don't care if you do it once a week. But just let's all make a point of reminding people that there are folks like you guys out there that are able to help and more than willing to step up and make sure that mission continues, and that mission continues as in them getting to that next stage and past that hurdle, with their friends, their family, and the camaraderie with you guys.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
I can't thank you guys.
Tell us a little bit about the suicide prevention project that you're working on now. It's in here.
What that is it's actually working a lot of times with Patriot Outdoor Adventures. We can go to Colorado, we can go to Texas, and get these guys on mission about 3 to 4 months out. But that takes money. That takes a lot of planning. And I've myself have invested thousands upon thousands of dollars of my own money into this project. So when somebody says, somebody comes to me and says, hey, we got this Army Scout sniper that's really struggling, what can we do with him? You know what we can do with him? We can do a coyote hunt, because that's what he's good at. Let's go get him out there with some brothers and go out there and do some fun stuff. But I have to go buy a lease. So a lease costs money. I have to go travel, gas cost. There are so many costs. And do they have a hunting license? Are they out of state? I can't fund all of it myself. I want to. If I was rich, I would do it. I wouldn't ask for help.
Right.
But you have a GoFund account.
Right.
Okay, so tell us that one more time.
It's chilioffthegrid.com/vets will take you to our GoFundMe .com account, or you can do GoFundMe.com/COTG vets as well.
Okay.
And you're not asking for much.
I know. It looks to me like you only need another, not even 5,000.
We're about 50% of the way through a $10,000 deal.
Cool.
And I've also said if people would double that and make $20,000, I'll go swim with sharks in the Gulf of Mexico, which is my hugest fear in
We
life.
took 50,000.
Okay, we gotta go.
Yeah.
We gotta go. Once again, thank you. We're gonna be right back. Real people, real life.
Real People, Real Life is brought to you by these fine sponsors.
Real People, Real Life, going on location, thanks to Mid-America Power Sports. And Go Pro 4, now at Mid-America Power Sports, 333 Northwest Street, Wichita, Kansas, America.
Hammond Liquor, home of the coldest beer in town and the lowest prices store-wide. For all your special events, your friends at Hammond Liquor have what you need, from beer, wines, spirits, champagne, and more. Open till 8 p.m. every Sunday. Hammond Liquor, West Kellogg and Tyler Road. Hammond Liquor, home of the coldest beer in town and lowest prices store-wide, wants to remind you of very important savings days. Wine Day, Tuesdays get 20% off. Beer Day, Wednesdays get 10% off. Microbrews and imports. Open till 8 p.m. every Sunday. Hammond Liquor, West Kellogg and Tyler Road.
At Trailer Town, we're all about selection, service, and safety. Trailer Town Selection, hundreds to choose from, small to large, lightweight aluminum to heavy-duty steel, all types, new and used. Trailer Town Service, the best in the Midwest, from wiring to axle repair. Trailer Town Safety, yes, we do Department of Transportation inspections. Trailer Town, trusted, family-owned, 301 West 53rd Street North.
Credit King Auto Sales is getting better all the time. We're doing it better. We're doing it better all the time.
Credit King Auto Sales, the king of buy here, pay here. Bad credit, no problem. The King specializes in getting you in the ride you want, no matter the credit score. Credit King doing it better all the time with the largest selection to choose from in all price ranges at one location. The King's Corner, 31st Street South and Broadway. Kansas' biggest buy here, pay here. GoCreditKing.com.
Welcome back once again, Real People, Real Life, Wichita, Kansas, America. And our spotlight on local business is you, my friend, Joe.
Burning Stick Cigar Lounge, and we've got a special guest today. Matt Dufresne from Perdomo Cigars has come to educate us on what a cigar is, how they're built, what the whole story is behind them. I know of no better teacher than Matt Dufresne.
Right on, Matt. Do tell us.
All right, let's hear your beginner tips.
Do tell.
Shoes. Well, I'm with a family-owned cigar company, and actually he's very proud about what he's built. Mm-hmm. He spent 5 years in the Navy as an air traffic controller.
Wow. And
his heritage goes back to Cuba, and when his dad and father being involved in the business, they spent time in prison. One of his family members came over here with bullets in his back from being shot and through that uprising of Castro and everything. So he wanted to get back into family passions, and he started a cigar company.
Brought the cigar company.
That's right. Yeah, started out of his garage in Florida.
And his whole family works it.
Wow.
That's true. Yeah, everybody's involved. Everyone from his daughter Natalie, his son Nicholas, Janine, his wife.
That is so cool.
Yeah. So
everybody's. Are they in the Tampa area?
They're in Miami.
Miami, okay.
Okay, but you're kind of the rep for this area here.
In the Midwest, yeah.
In the Midwest.
I manage 9 states.
Wow. Okay, what did you bring with us today? And are these things that we can go to Joe's?
Absolutely.
Joe, you have all those? Tell me what you got.
I think we carry all of those.
What do you have? Tell me.
These are some of the cornerstones.
Okay.
In our portfolio. The ones you're grabbing now, this is a big kind of a monumental cigar for us. It celebrates 20 years in the business. This is the Sun Grown and Maduro 20th anniversary.
Wow.
Why don't you take us back to the beginning? What do you mean by Sun Grown and Maduro? Because the viewers aren't going to know. So.
Okay.
Oh wow.
There's 3 wrappers that a cigar has, and it's based on not only the seeds, but how they're grown, how they're cultured in the fields. A Connecticut is a Connecticut seed. It's very mild, very neutral, very easy to smoke, creamy. You'll hear creamy, buttery, which is this one.
Okay, kind of creamy, buttery.
Right.
Okay.
The Sun Grown is more of a traditional Cuban-esque type cigar. Okay. It's the cigars that people know that it's got spice to it, it's got body, it's got a little more edge, if you want to say that, a little more tone. And then the Maduro, it can be both. You can have a broadleaf Maduro, which is from a Connecticut wrapper, or you can have, we've got here, this is a Jalapa Maduro. It's grown in the Jalapa Valley in Esteli, Nicaragua. And it's the same seed, same wrapper as this, but we have it aged longer.
Wow.
And it ferments, and it naturally takes on a darker hue. And with that breakdown of the leaf, you're going to get a little bit more sugars, a little more sweetness to it, but it has a rounder tone. It's almost like it's like a nice well-aged steak.
You know, whenever I go to my favorite place sometimes to visit, one of them, Puerto Vallarta, there's a store there. okay, where they have the most amazing cigars. I mean, there's people in there just rolling them right and left.
Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh! And I'm like, oh, this is so cool, you know. And it's not something that we get to have much around here, but it was really fascinating. I learned so much. I did kind of a special tour, you know, and went through the whole process with them, and it was really.
It's eye-opening if you can see it, and we invite people down. We do factory tours, so we're one of the rare companies in the world where we're vertically integrated. So when we go back to Joe's, we'll show you the boxes. We hand make every single box. We start at a 60 grain and then go up to a 240 to sand them down so they're beautifully done and you don't end up with slivers. I mean, there's very fine details in it, but we handle it all. We grow our own tobacco. We age it, ferment it, box it.
And cigars, unlike cigarettes, actually use nearly all of this tobacco plant.
Right,
That's right.
He can explain to you the breakdown of what part of the leaf and what part of the plant is used and what part of the cigar. And
now, is it all tobacco? Like cigarettes, got some additives.
There is nothing added to them. It's 100% tobacco.
Excellent.
Long story short is you put a seed in the ground, you take care of it, it grows into a plant. You harvest the leaves off the plant, and then you hang them in a barn. You wait for them to change color. When they do, we start sorting and selecting the leaves by size and grade and how they're going to be used, and then we can bale age them. So we press them down into bales about 700 pounds, pressure down to anywhere between a 90 to 100 pound bale, and then we let them age.
Wow.
So when you're going through all that process of fermentation and letting them sit there for 12 to 18 months, then you go through sorting, selecting, and all we use is tobacco.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Why do you guys put them in wooden boxes?
It's part of the tradition, but it protects the cigars. Traditionally, cigars weren't celloed like this. In fact, this cigar, when we ship it to Joe, it's uncellowed, so it comes just like this. Now, these other cigars, they come in the cellar to protect them, but they didn't have this back in the day, so they made boxes to protect the shipment.
Right.
A lot of times they'll use Spanish cedar to line the boxes because that particular type of wood will regulate the humidity and help. The neat thing about a cigar, everybody that smokes has had a stale cigarette. Cigarettes get old. Cigars don't. If they're kept properly, there's cigars that are probably in my humidor pushing the 50-year-old mark.
Wow.
And as long as they're kept right, they're going to be fine. Just the process before that cigar gets to market takes a couple of years at least.
Really?
And whereas with cigarettes, that's a blonde tobacco. It's not the same grade. It's actually a different kind of plant. They're not as hardy. They go bad like lettuce. So that's why there's all the preservatives and all the other crap that goes into cigarettes.
Right, and they harvest them a lot differently. We pick them off leaf by leaf, and we go through sections. So if we're going to what's called prime a plant, and we're going to take off the sand leaves, because we don't use that as a company. Some companies do. It's the leaves that touch the ground, and it not only absorbs the minerals and nutrients from the ground, but also through the stalk. So it becomes very harsh and bitter and bitey. So we'll take those off and discard them, and then we move up the plant, take them off by sections. And those sections have a different tone to add to the cigar. You get something lighter, creamier, buttery, and then you move up, you get something that adds almost like a fresh ground black pepper, or maybe a cedar sweetness. You get to the top of the plant, which is the youngest part of the plant, called the lajero. And it is body. It is the strength leaf, and we only get a few that come off of the plants, but it is to the wrapper, it's the second most expensive part of the plant, because there's few of it available.
So you're talking about wrappers only when you're talking about hand picking those leaves.
This is everything. This
is everything inside
the filler,
too.
The binder,
right?
The way a cigar is constructed. That's probably what we need to go into is how the cigar, because they don't know where the lajero goes. The lajero is going to be down the center of the cigar typically. There's some cigars out there that use a lajero filler, but the typical cigar lajero runs down the center. Then you got filler tobacco around the outside, a binder, and then a wrapper.
Right.
There's actually a construction process to a cigar,
and that's the process we'll have as we're getting ready to age the leaves and ferment the leaves, and we'll go through that. But cigarette, what they do is they come in and they cut the whole stalk down. It's called stalk cut.
Shove it in a machine.
And they take it, they hang it up, they wait for it to get a certain color, and then they grind it, and then they add everything else into that component.
Why do you cut a cigar? Are they all wrapped to where you can't smoke them until you cut some of it off, and how much are you supposed to cut? You got beginner's tips? Because I used to break into my dad's office and steal a couple of cigars. And
What'd you use those cigars for?
listen, I found a hack, though, okay? Like, when I used to have to drive the golf cart, they'd all be out there and nobody'd have a cutter. You can take a golf, what are those things called? A golf tee. And you can work a hole with that point and keep doing it until it's got a hole in there, and you can smoke them without cutting it. That's a little hack.
There are punch cutters, and there are
but what do you cut, and how much, and why?
Okay, the part of the reason it's capped is it actually helps protect the cigar. Some cigars like this have a foot band on it that protects the bottom part of the band. So you've got a foot and a mouth. And a lot of inexpensive cigars, they're completely open. You don't need to cut them. These, it's an aesthetic look to it as well, but it does bring some stability to the cigar. Right around the top, we do a traditional Cuban roll. So they'll put 3 different caps on the cigar to make sure that it stays tight down here. And if you take a close look at it, you'll see.
You can see the ridge.
You can see the ridge. That's what you cut.
You cut that off?
That's it.
That's it.
Because once you're past that, you're past the caps.
If you cut further up on the cigar,
which I have, and it'll make it fall out into your mouth.
Yeah, you get bits. Sometimes it could be what the cigar is made of. But
we call that a salad shooter.
Got it.
Man.
Oh, good Lord. Okay. You gotta love it.
If you cut too far up, you'll cut part of the wrapper off, and then that'll end up. Well, then it becomes unraveled, and then you've got the binder and filler. It just becomes a mess.
So this is sort of like wine or cognac or something. You age it, it actually gets better.
Absolutely, yeah.
That's what I was thinking, like wine.
The average age of our cigars are 5 to 6 years before they're released to market. Currently, we have about 7 to 9 years of tobacco in storage. That if we stop growing tobacco and harvesting today, we could, at our current rate, could go another 7 to 9 years and produce the same quantity of cigars with enough tobacco.
Joe, tell us where it's at.
2755 South Meridian. It's contained within Styx, which is 2785 South Meridian. In short, that is a half mile south of the flea market, which is at Pawnee and Meridian.
Don't look for a sign, because it ain't there.
Well, yeah, the city won't let us have a sign, so look for the strip mall that's back off the street about 150 yards, and we occupy the entire strip mall. The north end of that strip mall is the cigar lounge. Come and see us, have a cigar. A lot of times we pair these cigars with some very fine scotch or bourbon, and we have a blast.
And we'll be bringing you some pictures of that, I promise. Okay, Real People, Real Life. We'll be back next week.
The views expressed in the preceding program do not necessarily represent the views of this station or its management.
Hammond Liquor, home of the coldest beer in town and lowest prices store-wide, wants to remind you of very important savings days. Wine Day, Tuesdays get 20% off. Beer Day, Wednesdays get 10% off. Microbrews and imports. Open till 8 p.m. every Sunday. Hammond Liquor, West Kellogg and Tyler Road.
Knapp Weaponry is the home of Wichita's newest indoor temperature-controlled shooting range. Mention this ad for 2-for-1 pricing weekdays from noon to 4. Knapp Weaponry is an NRA Business Alliance member that offers NRA and state-certified instruction classes, training, and women's unarmed self-defense classes. We buy and sell new and used guns and offer gunsmith services. Knapp Weaponry offers a free range session with the purchase of a new gun. We also offer transfer services and an array of...
At Economy Motors, we've got your back. We are the home of Easy Pay. At a time when everything costs more, not with us. Everything, all makes, all models are still priced $12,995 and under. Great selection and adding more every week. Now is the perfect time to come in and take your pick with just $100 to put the car of your choice in layaway. Bad credit, no worries. We are here to help you. Economy Motors, 2305 South Broadway.
Economy Motors, we got your back.
Sal's Japanese Steakhouse, 6829 East Kellogg Drive. A Wichita tradition for awesome dining and always a great time. Enjoy our Monday to Thursday specials, including half-price chicken and shrimp dinners. Sal's is open 7 days a week. Come in, relax, and let us give you the treat of fine dining and good fun in a beautiful atmosphere. From our family to yours, Sal's Japanese Steakhouse, 6829 East Kellogg, Wichita, Kansas.